Hi, it's Barry Lebow. This belligerent, this thing I posted on Hacks about belligerent, nasty assholes. I saw this ad from a guy who was probably the nastiest real estate broker I've ever known, and he wasn't two-faced. He talked to his clients the same way he talked to everyone. I mean, how he got through and got mortgages around, and he's commercial. He has a lot of commercial, residential. Been around for like 35, 40 years. The guy's still at it. And like anybody who comes in his path, he just like rips into them. And the guy's made a fortune in his life. And I'm like, why? How? And I realized how many of these guys I've known in my career. My friend Ron James knows of a certain guy in our past, we both know, who was a broker he was a madman, and yet he was highly successful. I don't know. I can't figure that one out. So I'll tell you a cute story. So my father, who was a master salesman. I mean, my dad, I, I'm writing an article about my dad about something that's just extraordinary. And so dad and I was doing residential, he was commercial in development stuff. He was a mortgage broker, I was a real estate broker. And a lot of times he needed me for my license. Let's do a deal. And we did a development deal on some subdivision land. And the lawyer was giving us a hard time. So dad said, okay, let's go to the lawyer's office. We go to the lawyer's office on Bay. Dad's office was on Bay Street. And we go to the lawyer's office, and the guy will see us. And we go in. I can tell you two stories. Another one just hit me. So we go into this office, and this lawyer, he's got the two chairs in front of his desk, huge desk. Like you can play ping pong on the desk, and the table tennis. And the chairs are cut 2 inches low. So you're sitting lower than he is. It's a psychological thing, right? So he starts his mouthing. And my father was like, even in those days, it was like $1,000 suits and engraved monogram shirts. I mean, my father was a class act. And so this guy's going on and on. And my dad sits there very quietly and he looks at him. And finally, when the guy takes a breath, my dad says, this act of yours, does it impress a lot of people? The guy's like, what the hell? He goes, my father says, no, seriously, this bullshit act of yours, this aggressive bully act, is it impress an awful lot of people? Because it's not working on me. And I'm like 20 something years old. I never heard somebody throw something back like that. And the guy just goes, wow, blah, 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 blah. My dad goes, cut the bullshit. Talk to me like a real human being. And we're here to do a deal, not for your ego tripping. And he says, cut the bullshit. And the guy became a total pussycat. Pussycat. It was like we made the deal. So cut to another one. This is what I forgot about till it started talking. So we go to another lawyer, and he was giving us trouble. I had sold a subdivision. I said, Dad, I'm having nothing but trouble here. I sold the subdivision land. And the lawyer was giving us so much trouble, the young lawyer. Dad, we went to the office. Dad knew the people that, like the senior lawyers there. And he asked to see this guy. And we got us come down the hall. And the guy's sitting there in tennis shorts, tennis whites, with his feet up on the desk on the phone and sort of like waving to us to sit down. And he's just being a real asshole. And young guy. And my dad, the guy hangs up the phone finally and doesn't take his feet off the desk. Total disrespect. And my father looks at him. He says, I got to ask you a question. Yeah, what? He says, was your wife pregnant when you married her? Now I'm sitting there and I'm going, what the hell is this? And the guy goes, what? Now his feet come off the desk and he's young and he's like, what? My father says, very, very quietly, my dad, very quietly, I've got to ask you a question. Was your wife pregnant when you married her? No, why would you even ask that? He says, I thought you had to screw the boss's daughter to be a person like to sit here like you are right now because you couldn't have got a job here on your own. The guy went ballistic. And Dad just turned around and says, listen, kid, sit up, behave, treat people with respect. You play tennis, go play somewhere. You come in here, you dress properly. And he says, and you show us respect. What's wrong with this deal? Well, it says a survey in red, the survey's in black. It was a photocopy. My father says, really? He says, call one of your secretaries now. The guy's like shaking. He grabs the secretary. Dad says, you got a marker, red marker? Yeah. Can you bring it here, please? Yeah. Dad, on my deal, takes the marker, goes around the subdivision survey, puts red on it, and he goes, now it's in red. Any problems? No. Go. Is the deal going to go through? Yeah. Walk out the door. Dad goes, don't ever let anybody push you around like that. And so I learned from a master, and it was funny. I mean, can you imagine walking and say to a lawyer, was your wife pregnant when you married her? So these belligerent people, you got to confront them sometimes, folks. I just had to tell you these stories because it's part of my real estate career. It's part of the growing up in real estate. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I've had a lot of fun along the way. And by the way, that thing about this bullshit act of yours, this bully act, I use that so many times since then. You have no idea. I've stopped this act of yours about intimidating people. Does it work on a lot of people? Because it's not doing anything for me. You have no idea how you cut people off at the knees using that. Dad was a master of psychology. Take care. Good hunting, everybody. Make your deals. Take care. I'll be back with another story, I promise.